Hey guys, this is Andrew with rockclass101.com, and in this week's ukulele lesson, we're going to be learning one of the most requested songs that I receive, Hey Soul Sister by Train. So as you guys heard, this arrangement covers the entire song, although it does have an outro that I wrote that's unique to it. Now the goal for this arrangement was to write something that was more at the intermediate level in terms of finger picking. Because earlier this year we put out a couple of pop songs such as Havana, and it was really cool, but it had so much technique going on, tons and tons of technique, that I wanted this one to be a little bit more simplistic, and I think I accomplished that. But with that said, there are some tricky aspects to this arrangement. Most notably, when we listen to the song, we hear so much syncopation in the vocal melody he sings, and that's something that I wanted to keep intact in this arrangement. So there's a lot of syncopation happening, which means that we're going to be playing rhythms that hit off the beat. And also, there is so much variation happening. Most pop songs have a verse, and that verse has the same rhythm and melody that gets repeated. So if there's like 3 or 4 verses in a song, if you learn the verse once, you've got it each time it repeats. Well, with this song, there's 4 verses, and each verse is different. So he sang each verse with variation. So that makes it trickier to learn because you have to memorize 4 different variations on the verse instead of just one. So a little tricky in that regard, but as we move through the lesson, we're going to be covering everything, learning everything note by note, and taking it step by step. So with that said, this lesson is going to be part 1, and in part 1, we're going to learn the first half of the song. So if you guys want to learn the second half, we're going to be covering that in the part 2 lesson at rockclass101.com, so you can click this link right here to check out the entire lesson, or you can go to the site and do a search for Hey Soul Sister. At that page, you'll also be able to find the tabs that you can print off and follow along with as a PDF format and access the on-screen tab viewer. Now this is a really cool feature where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time. You can highlight bars to loop sections, slow it down to any speed you wish. Just a really great asset and learning this song that much easier. Alright, so let's go ahead and jump into this tune. We're kicking off with the intro. And before we begin, I want to point out that we're going to be counting out the rhythms as we move throughout this lesson. So if you're new to understanding rhythmic notation and counting out rhythms while you play, I'd highly encourage you to check out this lesson before you move forward. Now with that said too, as I mentioned just a little bit ago, some of these rhythms that we're going to be playing are very syncopated. So when we hit the bars that are very syncopated, we're going to approach playing them, let me say that again, we're going to approach playing them by ear instead of counting. It's going to be a lot easier to play by ear. So let's go ahead and kick into this. Our intro is 4 bars in length. I'm going to play the first 2 and then we'll break it down and learn it. So here is what it sounds like. 3, 4. Okay, so there's the first couple bars. So we're kicking off with the basic F chord, so go ahead and make that shape. Now this first bar, we're hitting that F twice. So we're going to hit on beat 1 and we're going to hit on beat 4. So that first hit lasts for 3 beats. So we have 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then on beat 4, you're just going to strum again. So we've got 2 strums, so let's give that a shot. We hit on beat 1, we hit on beat 4. Here we go. 3, 4, strum, 2, 3, strum. Okay, pretty simple. So our second bar, we're going to kick off with a C5. So think of your basic C major chord. If we move that ring finger up, directly up 1 string, but keep it on that 3rd fret, so we're moving it up to the 2nd string 3rd fret, we're going to strum 4 to 2. Okay, so we're just going to strum 4 to 2. And the cool thing with this is that we can kind of curve this ring finger down a little bit. So check out how I'm going to move this finger down a little bit, and what happens is that it lightly touches the 1st string and it meets that string. So if you strum all 4 strings, you still only hear these top 3. You don't hear string 1. It's a really cool technique to grasp and really cool concept to use to clean up your playing, especially if you play through an amplifier, because it'll amplify everything, even things you don't want to hear. Another option too, you could always just pluck those strings if you want to keep it on the fingertip though. Okay, so we're gonna hit that C5 on beat 1. We're gonna hold it out for a half note. So we have 1, 2. Okay, so on beat 3, we're gonna play this phrase. Okay, and this phrase highlights a D minor chord, which is what our next bar will be playing out of. So let's learn that chord real quick. So take your middle finger, put it on the 2nd fret of string 3, and your index finger on the 1st fret of string 2. And our A string will be open, so our D minor hit is going to be from 3 down. But throughout this second half of this bar and the next bar, we're actually going to be playing the G string open a couple times. So you want to go ahead and make sure you have that open. So in essence, we're going to have open, 2nd, 1st, open. But our D minor chord is 3 down. So let me go ahead and count out the rhythm for this second half. Sounds like this: 3 and 4 and So if I call out strings, I have 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. So we have 8th notes followed by 16th at the end. So we're going to be playing string 2, string 4, string 1, and then we have 16th hit at the end, 2, 3. So I have 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. So let's try that together. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay. Now if we backtrack, let's try it with the C5 hit. So we're going to do the entire second bar. We have 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and Okay, one more time. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, if we backtrack again, let's see if we can do the entire 1st and 2nd bar. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and Awesome. Now here's what bar 3 and 4 sound like, and then we'll break it down and learn it. Okay, so let's go ahead and break that one down. The big thing that we want to point out is that that last hit that we did in bar 2 is going to get tied and held out for beat 1 of this 3rd bar. So last hit was that 2nd fret of string 3. Now, you probably noticed that this 3rd bar plays entirely out of the D minor chord. So you want to keep this chord shape intact throughout the entire bar. So we're going to be doing our first hit on the end of 1. So it's going to be string 3, and then we're strumming on beat 2. Now this second beat is where we're going to be starting to see some of that syncopation. So if we break beat 2 into 16th notes, we have 2, E, and So we're strumming 3 down the D minor on 2. We're holding that for 2, E, and then our next hit is the So real tricky, right? Because it's a syncopated 16th note hit. So it hits at the very end, hits on So you can think of it kind of like this. It's a quick hit right before beat 3, and strum A3, and strum A3, right? And strum A3, and strum A3, and strum A3. So just think of it as a quick hit right before beat 3. So again, we've got string 3, then we strum 3 down, then we're hitting on the so it's string 3 again, and then for beat 3, we're playing string 2. Okay, so I have 3 strum, 3, 2. Okay, 3 strum, 3, 2. Now after that, we're going to play string 4 open, string 1 open. So let's see if we can do that. So we have 3 strum, 3, 2, 4, 1. 3 strum, 3, 2, 4, 1. Okay, let's try together. Remember, we start on the end of 1. 3 and 4 and 1. 3 strum, 3, 2, 4, 1. Okay, after that, we're going to be playing string 3 again, and here's where it gets a little tricky again. We're going to lay this index finger flat, so it kind of pivots down. And we're getting ready to go into our next chord, which is this B flat. So our B flat is our index finger flat. It's a partial bar on the 1st fret, strings 1 and 2, and your middle finger stays where it was at, was the 2nd fret of string 3. Okay, so this is a partial bar chord. Now, getting proper form is super important to getting this chord to ring out properly. So if you're new to playing partial bar chords and full bar chords, check out our lesson on proper left-hand form. It's going to talk all about the correct positioning of your left hand. Okay, so the end of this bar is again a 16th note hit. So we have and ah. So it's a quick transition that needs to happen. So you're playing string 3, and then you're going to pivot this index finger down. So that's literally all I want you guys to practice, is to move this index finger from this D minor chord, laying it flat, becomes a B flat, right? So the only thing that happens is that this, at the first joint, pivots down, and you've got that partial bar. So you've got 2, 1, 1. Okay, and we're ignoring string 4. So if we backtrack, let's start at the beginning of that bar. Remember, we hit on the end of 1. Let's play all the way through. So I've got 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and ah. Okay, so you can see that and ah is going to be playing string 3 and then barring and plucking 1 and 2. Okay, so if I call out everything, I have 3 strum, 3, 2, 4, 1, 3 pluck. Okay, so that pluck is laying flat and pivoting down. So let's try that again. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and ah. Okay, again. 3 and 4 and 1 and strum, a 3 and 4 and ah. So real tricky stuff right there. Now this ah is going to get tied into the next bar. So again, this fourth bar starts with hitting on the end of 1. So we're just going to be plucking out of the B flat. So we have and 2 and then we're moving it up a whole step. So before we do that, let's go ahead and tackle the first half. So you're holding it out for 1. You're going to start your first hit on the end of 1, so it's string 3, and then you pluck again strings 1 and 2, and then hit string 3. Okay, so we have, okay, so it's 3, pluck, 3. Okay, so once we get done with that first half, all we're doing is we're taking this B flat, we're moving it up a whole step, so it goes to 4 and then flat on 3. Now for this one, we're going to go ahead and start with the pluck, so plucking the 3rd fret, 1 and 2 together, and then string 3, and then plucking again 1 and 2, and then the open 3rd string. So you got to lift that middle finger up, and that'll get you that last note. So if I tackle this 4th bar, it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So remember, starting on the end of 1. So 3 and 4 and 1. 3 pluck, 3 pluck, 3 pluck, open. So a lot easier than the previous bar, but again, still a little tricky with some of this movement happening. Now, one thing I want to point out too, I didn't really talk too much yet about the right hand picking patterns or the right hand approach for picking. I like to use a 3-finger approach for all of this. So that's just my thumb playing string 4 and 3, index gets string 2, middle gets string 1. So I think that's the easiest way to approach picking this, but again, you could use a 4-finger approach, whatever's most comfortable for you. It doesn't really matter too much, but if you do a 4-finger approach, then it's pretty self-explanatory. Each finger gets its own string. So let's see if we can tackle bar 3 and 4 together. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and out, and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so a little tricky with that syncopation. Let's do it again. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and out, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, if we backtrack 1 through 4, here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, and this is also just really great to play by ear. If you can memorize the beats you're playing too, that makes it so much easier to play. So approach it by knowing the rhythms that you're playing, but also by just memorizing it. So let's go ahead and jump into verse number 1. Verse 1 is actually pretty easy, pretty straightforward. There's nothing complex, too complex rhythmically speaking. So this one we should be able to breeze through. Let me play the first bar and then we'll break it down. 3, 4. Okay, so this one we've got quarter notes for the first half and then eighth notes for the second half. So pretty simple. So it's going to be playing all out of that F chord. So go ahead and make that F chord. We're going to strum for beat 1. And then for beat 2, we're going to pluck 3 and 1 together. So both are open. So we've got strum, pluck. So again, quarter notes, right? So we have 1, 2. Now for the second half, we're going to be doing eighth notes. So it's going to start with the strum, and then you're going to hit string 3. Then you're going to pluck 1 and 2 together, and then you're going back to string 3. So again, the second half, starting on beat 3, we have strum, 3, pluck, 3. Okay? So if we try that entire bar together, we have strum, pluck, strum, 3, pluck, 3. Okay? So let's put it into that timing, and we'll go slow. Here we go. 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and... Okay? So pretty simple. Let's take a look at the second bar, which is going to be all eighth notes. So here's what it sounds like. So we've got a pull off in there as well. So we're playing out of the basic C. So go ahead and make the regular C major, not the C5, just the basic C. We're going to strum that. Remember, all eighth notes for this bar. So we've got strum, then we're going to play string 3, open, then string 4. Okay, and then after that, lift that ring finger up and play the open A. So that gives us the first half. So we've got strum, 3, 4, open A. Okay, after that, use your index finger. You're going to play the first fret of string 1. You're going to do a pull off to the open A. Okay, after that, we play string 4 and then the first fret of string 2. So we look at the second half. We've got 1, 0, 4, 2. Okay, don't rush that pull off. Remember, eighth notes, right? 1, 0, 4, 2. All right, if we put that whole bar together, we've got strum, 3, 4, 1, pull off, 4, 2. Let's put in the timing now. Here we go. 3 and 4 and strum and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, one more time. 3 and 4 and strum and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Now if we backtrack, let's try 1 and 2 together. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice. Now let's take a look at bar number 3. So bar number 3, we're kicking back to that D minor. So same shape we've already covered. Now, it's actually the same rhythm as bar 1. So first half quarter, second half eighth notes. So here's what it sounds like. Okay, so you can already see it's pretty much identical. We're only playing out of D minor on this one instead of F. So we're going to start with the strum. Remember, the strum is 3 down. So we've got strum and then pluck 3 and 1. So quarter notes, we have 1, 2. Okay, after that, we're going to the eighth notes. We've got strum, 3, pluck, 3. Okay, remember that pluck is 1 and 2, just like the first bar. So again, the second half, we have strum, 3, pluck, 3. Okay, so if we put that whole bar together, we've got strum, pluck, strum, 3, pluck, 3. Okay, let's put it into the timing. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. Okay, now for our fourth bar, we're going into B flat. So remember, we talked about that transition, laying that index finger flat. You got to do the same thing right here when it gets to this part. So keep these 2 fingers intact, but pivot that index down at that first joint, and boom, you've got B flat. Remember, third string down for this chord as well. So here's what this bar sounds like. Now, the fourth and the fifth bar have the same rhythm, and we have a little bit of syncopation happening. So if I tap out this and then I play it, it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 4 and. So we have a 16th note hit at the end of beat 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay? So if I put on the ook, it sounds like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so we have a 16th note hit at the end. So let's break this down. So we're playing B flat, so we can strum all three if you want, or you can pluck 1 and 2. But let's go ahead and just strum all three for the first beat. So 1, and then we're going to hit string 3 by itself. That's the end of 1. And then we'll pluck 1 and 2 together. Okay, so we have strum 3 pluck. Now this pluck, I can do a little staccato, so a little, want to release pressure. It gives me a cool little accent. So I've got strum 3 pluck. Okay, so 1 and 2. Okay, so remember, if we subdivide 2 into 16th, we have 2E and A. So for 2E, we have the pluck. For and A, we have string 2, string 1. 1 and 2 and A. Okay, so you're going quickly, string 2, string 1. So it's just that first finger laying flat, so partial bar. So again, I have strum 3 pluck, ba-da. So quick, 1 and 2 and A. 1 and 2 and A. Okay, but I want to accent that staccato. Ba-do-da, ba-da. 1 and 2, 2, 1. 1 and 2, 2, 1. So there's that trick. Let me play that whole bar. Okay, again, I have 1 and 2 and 3. So this gets held into beat 3, and then what you're going to do is you're going to lift up and you're going to play eighth notes to finish out this bar. And 4 and. So it's open A, open 4, then the first fret of string 2. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So tricky with those 16th syncopations, right? Now this bar and the next bar, they're little altered rhythms. They're not identical to what he sings on the record, so I want to point that out too. Some of the bars in this song I altered to either make it flow better as an instrumental piece or to make it a little bit easier to play. So let's see if we can try this entire bar. Here we go, 3 and 4 and strum 3 pluck and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let me call out some of the strings. 3 and 4 and strum 3 pluck 2 1 0 0 1. Okay, again you have strum 3 pluck 2 1 0 0 1. And that's a loud bird. Let's try it again. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, so the good news is once you get this rhythm down, the next bar is identical. But before we get there, let's see if we can backtrack. Let's try 3 and 4 together, then 1 through 4. So 3 and 4, here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, now let's 1 through 4. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Now bar 5, remember, keep in mind same rhythm as bar 4. Only difference is now we're playing out of the F chord. So here's what bar 5 sounds like. So here's the same thing, We have the same little staccato hit on beat 2 and the same rhythm, but it's out of F. So let's break this one down. So make the F chord. We're going to strum all 4, then hit string 2, and then we're going to do that staccato hit, but it's a little trickier on this one because you're plucking string 2 and 1, and we need to mute an open string this time around. So we can use the palm of our right hand to touch the strings to mute them. So I've got strum to pluck, and I want to mute it. Okay, so once you and I practice that real quick, just a little bit, a couple times, and it'll help get it down. So again, after you pluck, you can just mute with the palm of the right hand. You could also mute with the left hand as well, touching down, because the next part we got to play is flat on the first fret, strings 1 and 2. So either or works, but let's see if we can practice a little bit. We have 3 and 4 and strum to pluck. Okay, again, 3 and 4 and strum to pluck. All right, so remember, we subdivide beat 2 into 16, so we have 2 E and A. So you're hitting on and A to end this beat 2. So 1 and 2 and A. Okay, so you want to pivot this down again at that first joint to play this next part. 1 and 2 and right, so in essence you're pivoting down and you're just laying flat as a partial bar. So you're playing 2 1, just like you did in the last bar, 2 1. And this time around, to give it a little bit of a difference, we can actually pull off to that open A. So it ends the same way as before, where it was open A, open 4, first fret of string 2. But this time around, to give it a bit of a contrast from bar 4, we can do a pull off. So let me play the whole bar and watch how that pull off works. Okay, so again I have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So I'm just pulling, I'm pivoting down, I'm doing a pull off, 1 to the open A, and then open 4, and then the first fret of string 2. So let's see if we can put that together. Now this pull off is a little bit hard because it's kind of a really awkward one. It's kind of like flicking that finger off to make it work because I'm pulling off from a partial bar. So really awkward. It's not the normal kind of pull off. So you probably want to just practice that a little bit. It looks like that. See how I'm super curved this way, right? So I'm not doing the normal straight off, okay? So I've got strum to pluck, 1 1, pull 4 2. Okay, so again I have strum to pluck, 1 1, pull 4 2. All right, let's see if we can do it together. I'll count out the rhythm. 3 and 4 and strum to pluck, da 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 da. You could also sing it like that, but let me count out the rhythm. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so real tricky, but remember, same rhythm as 4. So if you get 4 down, you can do 5. Okay, so I just realized something. I want to input this into this part of the lesson. Instead of doing this awkward, funky little pull off, you can also just drop the middle finger down and do a pull off, which probably makes this section easier. I didn't think about it until after I filmed this part of the lesson. Let me go ahead and show you how that looks like. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you notice what I did right here is I just take the F chord, right? Strum to pluck, and then that 16th note, I'm just moving down to there, to the first fret of string 1. And that should make that pull off a lot easier. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you can do that as well, or you can do the little pull off like I explained previously. Up to you guys. I think this was easier, and I think that's what I did on the performance. I can't remember, but it probably was what I did. So try both out, because who knows in your future playing, especially as you play things that are a little bit more challenging and difficult, it's really great to get used to doing some of these partial bar chords and doing pull-offs and stuff like that. But anyways, I thought I'd input that because that's really helpful tip as well, or give you an alternative fingering. All right, moving on. All right, let's tackle bar 6. We have syncopation again, but a little bit easier because it's not 16th note syncopation. So here's what it sounds like. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So again, that's a little bit faster. Da, 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 da. If I count out these rhythms, we're hitting on the ends. So we have 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. So you're hitting on the end of 3, end of 4. Ba, 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 ba. 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right, so end of 3, end of 4 to end it. That's a lot of ends. So we're doing playing out of C6. In essence, all we're doing is we're playing string 3 and 2 together, open. After that, on beat 2 end, you're playing them separate. You're going 3, 2. So the first half is really easy. You have 1, 2, end. Okay, so quarter followed by eighth. 1, 2, end. Now this end of 2 is going to get tied into beat 3. So you're hitting on the end of 3. You're going to hit the second string, first fret. Okay, so you have 1, 2, and 3, end. So you're hitting that first fret of string 2 on the end of 3, and then on the end of 4, you're going to hit the second fret of string 3. So you have 1, 2, and 3, and 4, end. So what do you notice? It goes into that D minor shape, right? So I've got pluck, 3, 2, 1, 2. Okay, that's if we play by ear. If we play by counting rhythms, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. Okay, let's see if we can try that bar together. 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. All right, so if I call out the strings, I have 3, 4, pluck, 3, 2, 2, 3. All right, so now let's backtrack. Let's see if we can tackle 5 and 6 together. So slowly, here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and. All right, and a little bit faster. 3, 4. Okay, so I didn't count it out so you can just hear it. Remember, these syncopations are a little tricky, so it's always great to approach playing by ear as well as counting. So try both out and pick the one that works the best for you. So let's see if we can tackle 7 and 8, and these bars, 7 and 8, will actually show up again at the end of verse 2. So the good thing is that if you learn it once here for the end of verse 1, you've got it for when we get to the end of verse 2. So the first thing to point out is that this last hit that we did, the second fret of string 3, actually gets held out into beat 1 of bar 7. So same stuff as we saw earlier in the intro. So let me go ahead and play. I'm going to start on the end of 1. I'll play 7 and 8 so you have a context, and then we'll go ahead and learn it. So here's what it sounds like. All right, so let's break that down. So again, remember, start on the end of 1. So we're playing out of D minor, then we've got B flat and C for the last bar. So D minor for bar 7. So we're going to hit on the third string, that's the end of 1, and then we can either do a strum hitting 3 down, or we can pluck strings 1 and 2. I'll leave it up to you guys, but I think I'm going to do a little strum. So I've got 3 strum, 3 strum. Okay, so and 2 and 3. Okay, so this 3 strum, 3 strum is actually going to repeat, I think it's 3 times. We have 3 strum, 3 strum, 3 strum. So all eighth notes I have, and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, if you like more to the ear, if you want a little bit of a warmer sound, you can pluck. You can go 3 pluck, 3 pluck, 3 pluck. It seems a little bit softer, warmer tone. But if you want the little strum, you can do a strum as well. So let's see if we can try that, and then we'll get the little last part, which is a 16 note hit at the end in a second. So start on the end of 1. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the last part is going to be a 16th note hit, so enda. So we have on beat 4, enda. So it's going to be a little flick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the first string, And I'm going to use the nail of my middle finger to hit string 1, and then I'm going to come up with the nail of my thumb to again hit string 1. So I have a quick little 16th note hit, ba ba. So I have 4 and da. So if I play the last beat, 4 and da. So you can see that I go from D minor, strum, and then I'm going to lay flat, so I mute these strings, and I'm going to target string 1, nail of the middle comes down, nail of the thumb comes up. So if I put that bar into context, remember starting on end of 1, I have 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da. Okay, so muting, doing this little flick to give me that 16th note percussive hit. So let's see if we can try bar 7 together all the way through. 3 and 4 and 1 and strum and strum and strum, ba ba. And I count out the rhythm. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and da. Now when we get to the 8th bar, we're back to B flat. So after you mute, you want to just shift into B flat. It's really easy. So you see I'm muting, then I shift into B flat, just like that. So I'm kind of already in position. Take a look at my middle and my index when I mute. All I have to do is lift those up and then just get into form. I've got B flat. Remember, B flat moved up a whole step to C. Okay, so that's all we're doing for this bar. So the first half is B flat, the second half is C. So we have strum, 3, strum, ba ba. Right? So that's the first half. We have 1 and 2 and da. So same stuff we did in bar 7, right? Strum, 3, strum, ba ba. 2 quick hits. So the rhythm is 1 and 2 and da. Okay, so let's see if we can try that first half together. 3 and 4 and strum, 3, strum, ba ba. Okay, from here, move up a whole step. We're in C, so we've got strum, 3, strum, open C. So the last hit, you've got to lift up that middle finger and play an open. So all 8th notes for this last part. We have 3 and 4 and. Okay, if we put that bar together, we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's see if we can do together. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, if we backtrack 7 and 8 together, here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now let's backtrack. Let's do 5 through 8 and then we'll go 1 through 8, and that's the entire verse 1. So 5 through 8 starts on the F. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Now let's see if we can go 1 through 8, so all the way through the entire first verse. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice. Now let's jump into verse 2. So with verse number 2, we're going to be approaching this one learning quite a few bars by ear. And the reason is because it's starting to get a lot more syncopated. So even though we've had some tricky rhythms in the first verse and that intro, it starts to get even more complex in verse number 2. But the good thing is that the melodies that you're about to learn follow the vocal line to a T. So if you know the words you already have a great head start. So this will be identical to what he sings. So while we're working through it, make sure that you're playing those lyrics in your head, and that's going to help you get the bars and the rhythm and the timing down so much easier. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into it. Let me play the first bar. The first bar is really easy, so we'll count it out. It sounds like this. So pretty much all quarter notes for this one. So if I count it out, this is the rhythm. I have 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So 3 quarter notes followed by an 8th note. So go ahead and make that stock F chord. We're going to start with a strum, all 4 strings. Then we're going to play string 2 and string 3 after that. And then we've got plucking 1 and 2 together, and then string 3. So that timing you can think of as 1, 2, 3, 4, and. So if I call out the hits, I've got strum, 2, 3, pluck 3. Okay, so let's give that a shot, you and I. Here we go. 3, 4. Strum, 2, 3, 4, 3. And I call out the rhythm. We have 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and. Awesome. So here's what bar 2 sounds like, and this is the first one that we're going to start learning by ear. So let me go ahead and play it, and then we'll break it down and learn it. Okay, so that's what it sounds like. So it starts out of that stock C chord, so we'll go ahead and make that basic C chord with our ring finger. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with a strum, all 4 strings, and then we're going to come up and we're going to hit the 3rd string open. So we start with 8th notes. We have 1 and. Okay, so just strum 3. Now after that, we get into the complex rhythm. Sounds like this. So this one, we're going to start to think by ear. So we have ba-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. So see if you can get that stuck in your head, get that beat stuck. So you would have strum 3, ba-da-da-da, strum 3, ba-da-da-da. If we slow it down, we have strum 3, da-da-da-da. Okay, so let's learn what those notes are. It's going to be the 4th string open, followed by the A string open, and then you're going to take the index, put it on the 1st fret of string 1, you're going to play that and do a pull off. But you're holding it down for a little bit before you pull off to the open A. So you have 4, 1, pull off. So think of it like that. You can even sing the beat as the notes you're playing. 4, 1, pull off. Okay, so let's try that. 4, 1, pull off. If we backtrack and add the first hit, we have strum 3, 4, 1, pull off. Strum 3, 4, 1, pull off. And slow it down, I have strum 3, 4, 1, pull off. Okay, so let's see if we can try that. 3, 4, 1, and 4, 1, pull off. Awesome. One more time. 3, 4, strum 3, 4, 1, pull off. Great. Now the last couple notes, go back to 8th notes. We have 4 and, so that's going to be the 4th string open and the 1st fret of string 2. So if I put that together, guys, I have strum 3, 4, 1, pull off 4, 2. So string 4 and then 1st fret of string 2. So again, I have strum 3, 4, 1, pull off 4, 2. Okay, let's see if we can try that entire bar together slowly. 3, 4, strum 3, 4, 1, pull off 4, 2. Awesome. Again, 3, 4, strum 3, 4, 1, pull off 4, 2. Nice. Now if we backtrack, let's see if we can do bar 1 and 2 together. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 4, 1, pull off 4, 2. Very good. So now we're kicking into bar 3. This one we're going to approach by ear too, but the first couple hits are fairly easy. They're going to be quarter notes. So beat 1 and beat 2 quarter notes. So here's what this bar sounds like. So again, follows the vocal line. Ba da 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 dum. Okay, so let's go ahead and break that one down. We're out of D minor, so ignoring the 4th string for right now. So we're going to strum 3 down, and then hit string 2 after that. So remember quarter notes. 1, 2. Then on beat 3, we're going to hit just 3 and 2 together. Okay? And then for this one, we have a syncopated hit where this hit is going to last for 3 E end, and then on the we're hitting the open G, which is going to get tied into beat 4. So this is one we're going to play a little bit by ear just because it's kind of a bit tricky with that quick little hit before beat 4. So let's see if we can try it like this. So remember, after we pluck 3 and 2, we hit open G, and then the last note is going to be on the end of 4. It's going to be the 2nd fret of string 3. So I've got strum 2, pluck 4, 3. Remember, that's the 3rd string, 2nd fret. So let's see if we can break that down slowly and just loop it a little bit and see if we can get that going. Let's try you and I. Here we go. 3, 4. Strum 2, pluck 4, 3. Okay, again, here we go. Strum 2, pluck 4, 3. Okay, again, ready, go. La, da, 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 dum. Okay, so really helpful if you can sing it. If you can sing it, you can play it. All right, let's look at bar 4. So bar number 4 is going to start on the end of 1. So we're seeing stuff like we saw before where this 2nd fret of string 3 is going to get tied for the 1st beat. So the 1st 8th note of this 4th bar. So we want to keep that in mind that our first hit starts on the end of 1. So I'm going to start from the end of 1 and play through it. So it sounds like this. 3, 4, 1. Okay, so that's another one we want to approach by ear. Da da ba ba da 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 da. Ba 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 da 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 da. So again, follows the words that he's singing. So keep those lyrics in mind, and it'll be much easier to tackle. So let's break this one down. So we're out of B flat. So remember, when you're going from D minor, you just pivot at the 1st joint down, shift that finger down, and you've got B flat. So for this one, again, we're ignoring string 4 for the first part, and we're just targeting 3 down. So we're going to start with hitting the 3rd string. So this is on the end of 1. And then after that, we can pluck all 3 strings, 3, 2, and 1. Or you can do a strum if you want, either or. Up to you. And after that, we're going to follow by playing 1 on string 2, 1 on string 1. So the 1st fret, right? 1, 1. So all this is actually 8th notes, and 2, and 3. So the first part of this all begins with 8th notes. Remember, starting the end of 1. 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3. Okay? So let's see if we can just try that. 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3. So you've got 3 strum, 2, 1. So staying all out of that B flat chord. Last time, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3. Okay, so here's where we start to get a little syncopation. We've got 16th note, ba-dum. So quick little hit for the last half of beat 3. Ba-dum. So it's open A and then open G. So if I play through that, I have, you can hear ba-da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. And we have 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, da-dum. So oh-oh. One more time. 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, oh-oh. Okay, so after that, we've got 2 more notes. It's going to be the 1st fret of string 2, and then the open A. And that'll finish up that bar. But this, again, we're seeing some complex rhythm at the end. So let's play through that entire bar and try and get that beat memorized. So if I play through an entire bar and I'll sing it out, I've got 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, da-da-do-da. So I have 3, and 4, and 1, ba-da-ba-ba-da-da-da-da. So you want to get that stuck in your head. 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, da-da-do-da. Okay, so let's see if we can try together. Ready, go. 3, and 4, and 1, and strum. Ba da 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 2 1. Okay, slower. 3 and 4 and 1 and strum. 2 1 0 0 1 0. Now it's calling out frets. Let me call out the string names instead. 3 and 4 and 1. 3 strum. 2 1 1 4 2 1. Okay, so that finishes up the 4th bar. Now that's going to tie into the 5th bar, but before we get into there, let's go ahead and tackle 3 and 4 and then 1 through 4, and then we'll look at the second half of verse 2. So here's 3 and 4. 1, 2, ready, go. Da da ba da dum ba da do do da da do da. So you can sing it like that, or we can count some of the rhythms. If we do it again, counting some of them. 3 4 1 2 3 da dum ba ba and da 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 do da. So really helpful to sing this one out. And remember, it follows the vocal line. I've said that like 3 times, but it's gonna help if you think about what he's singing at that point in the song. All right, let's backtrack. Let's do bars 1 through 4. 3 4 1 2 3 4 and 1 and da 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 bum da 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 dum ba da do do da da do da. Okay, so that gives us everything for the first half. Now this 4th bar, this last note that we left off, the open A, that's going to get tied into the 5th bar. Same things we saw before, so it's tied for the first 8th note of the 5th bar. So that means that, again, we're starting on the end of 1 for the 5th bar. Now this 5th bar has some complex rhythms in it too, so we're going to be approaching this one singing it. And I'd really recommend to practice bar 4 into 5. So usually we go bar 1 2, bar 3 4, bar 1 4, and then 5 6 7 8 5 8. But really 4 to 5 is what you want to practice with this one because it's got so much syncopation in. So you really want to practice 4 and 5 together as one phrase. Okay, so let's go ahead and play bar 5, and then we'll break it down and learn it. So here's what it sounds like. So you can hear da 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 ba ba da 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 dum. So not super hard. It's out of the F, but you can notice that we're not going to make the full F chord. We're going to keep our index finger on that first fret of string 2. We're going to play that note twice. So we're starting the end of 1 and 2. So we're going to hit that twice. Ba ba. After that, we've got a quick hit of the G string open. You're going to use that middle finger, drop it down to the first fret of string 1. You can strum 3 down, and you're going to do a pull off. Okay, so this is going to hold for a sec, and then you're going to do a pull off to the open A. So if we think about it, we have da 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 da. So we have 2 2 4 strum O. Okay, so get that stuck in your head. 2 2 4 strum O. Okay, let's see if we can try that together. And we're starting on the end of 1. 3 and 4 and 1. 2 2 0 strum O. Okay, we're following that up on beat 4 with the G string open and then the first fret of string 2. So 8th notes to end it. 4 and. So if I put that whole bar together, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 da 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 da. Let me call out the frets. 3 and 4 and 1. 1 1 0 strum O O 1. Okay, that's gonna be the easiest way. 3 and 4 and 1. 1 1 0 strum O 4 1. 1 1 0 strum O 4 1. So you want to get that stuck in your head. Let's see if we can try together slowly. 3 and 4 and 1. 1 1 0 strum O 4 1. Okay, one more time. 3 and 4 and 1. 1 1 0 strum O 4 1. Okay, and like I said, practice bar 4 to 5. So let's give that a shot. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3. Oh, oh, 1, oh, 1, 1, oh, strum, oh, 4, 1. Okay, so you can see it's a little tricky, right? Let's try that again. 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so I didn't count out, so you can just kind of hear that and get it stuck in your head. Those are the 2 bars that you want to practice, and this is where that on-screen tabulator comes in handy. It really, really is helpful for getting tricky rhythms like this down, and looping sections, because you can loop those 2 bars and just do it at a slower pace and then increase the tempo gradually and get it down. All right, so let's look at the 6 bar. So 6 bar gets a little bit easier, and it sounds like this. 3, 4. Okay, so we've got da-dum, ba-da-da-da-dum. So another one that we can sing, although it's a little bit easier. So we have starting based out of the C6, so open 3 and 2 together, and then the 3rd string by itself. So that's 1 and for beat 2, we're gonna rest, and on the end of 2, we're gonna hit the open 3rd string. So that'll give us the first half. We have 1 and rest, end. Okay, so 3, 2, 3 by itself, rest, 3 by itself. Let's try that together. 3, 4, 1, and rest, end. Okay, now our second half sounds like this. So we have da-do-do-do. Okay, so that's going to be the 2nd string open, and then the 2nd fret of string 3 with the middle finger, and then the index goes on the 1st fret of string 2. So you can see it's forming that D minor chord. So you have, again, E, and then to the 2nd fret of string 3, and then to the 1st fret of string 2. You're going to hold that for a sec, and then play the 3rd string again. So you have O, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so those were frets. If I call out strings, I have 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so let's see if we can tackle that second half. Starting on beat 3, 1 and 2 and O, 2, 1, 2. One more time, 1, 2, 3, da da dum. Okay, let's see if we can tackle that entire bar. 3, 4, 1 and rest, and da do da dum. Okay, one more time. 3, 4. Okay, let me call out the strings. 3, 4, pluck 3, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3. Okay, so not super hard with that bar compared to the last 2. And then for the ending right here, bar 7 and 8, we're actually playing the same thing that we did to end the first verse. So nothing new happens there, I believe. Actually, one minor thing, but we'll talk about that in a sec. So usually we play 5 and 6 together, but I think for the context of this song, it's much better to practice 4 to 5, and you know that those are the tricky ones. That's what you should practice, but we've already covered that. So yeah, let's move on to 7 and 8. So 7 and 8 you can see was the same as the end of verse 1. The only difference is that instead of playing in bar 8 the last note as an open C, we're going to cut that note out and use it as a rest. So if I count out bar 7 and 8, remember we start on the end for this D minor, then we're B flat to C. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4. So on beat 4, when you hit that C chord, you're just going to rest, and that'll buy you time to switch into the chorus section. So let's see if we can tackle 7 and 8. So just cut out the C note at the end, on the end of 4, and it's the same thing as the 7 and 8 from verse 1. So here we go. Start on end of 1. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and a 3 and 4. Awesome. So now let's see if we can go the entire verse 2 all the way through. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and da 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 da. Strum 2, ba da dum, ba da do do da da do da do 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 do. 1 and da 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 dum, ba da. Okay. So really helpful to sing that one out while you play. It's going to help you stay in time so much easier. And then just break it down, try master one bar at a time before moving on and tackling them all. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the chorus. And the good thing about the chorus is that it's actually easier than the verses. And the reason why is because the rhythm is very straightforward. There's none of this syncopation stuff really. 1/16 note hit, and that's about it. So it does incorporate a tap. And that tap is with our thumb, and it's going to be tapping plus playing a melody note simultaneously. So if you're new to this technique, then check out this lesson. It's going to teach you how to do it and explain it. But I'm going to move forward assuming you know how to do it. So hit pause, watch that if you do not, and that'll explain everything. Now keep in mind our backbeat, our taps, and these hits, they're going to be on beats 2 and 4 throughout the entire chorus until the very last bar of the chorus. So let's go ahead and tackle the first bar of the chorus. Oh, and the chorus too, it repeats I think 3 times in this arrangement, and each time is identical. So if you get it down once, you've got it down each time it comes back. All right, so here's the first bar. Okay, so pretty simple. Follows the words for the most part. I did alter one little melody line to make it easier, but keep those words in mind as you're going through. Ba da da dum ba. Right, hey soul sister. So keep that lyric in mind for this section. So we're starting with an altered B flat. We've got a B flat add 9. So if you think of the basic B flat chord where we had barred on that first fret, we actually don't need to bar it. So it actually looks like the D minor. So you've got middle on the 2nd fret of string 3, index on the 1st fret of string 2, and we're going to use our pinky for the 3rd fret of string 1. So we're going to strum 3 down for this. So this is going to be a quarter note hit. 1, okay? After that, you're going to lift that pinky up. You're going to play the open A, but you're going to tap at the same time. Okay, so we've got quarter notes. We have 1, 2. So pretty simple, right? After that, we're going to take the ring, put it on the 3rd fret of string 2. You're going to pluck 3 and 2 together, and then lift that ring finger up and play the 1st fret of string 2. So this is going to be 3 and. So we've got 8th notes. So we have 1, 2, 3 and. Let me play that again a little bit better. 1, 2, 3 and. Okay, so again I've got strum, O, pluck 1. Right, 1 is that 1st fret of string 2. So now we're at beat 4, and beat 4 is going to be a tap just by itself. So you're going to tap just by itself, and after the tap, you're going to take that ring finger, put it on the 3rd fret of string 1. So we're getting ready to go into C for our next bar. But when we go to this 3rd fret, we can actually lift up these other fingers, these 2 fingers here. We don't need them anymore, so we're done with that. So we have beat 4 as a tap, and then we have playing string 1 by itself on the 3rd fret. So 8th notes to end it. So we had 1, 2, 3, and 4 ends. So quarters for the first half, 8th for the second half. So that entire bar together is 1, 2, 3, and 4 end. Okay, let's slow it down and try you and I together. 3, 4, strum, O, pluck 2, tap 3 on string 1. Okay, let's do it again. 3, 4, strum, O, pluck 2, tap 1. Okay, last time. 3, 4, strum, O, pluck 2, tap 1. Awesome. Now this is going to get held out like we've seen before. So this 3rd fret gets held out for beat 1 of the 2nd bar. Now the 2nd bar is all out of that basic C chord. So What I did to kind of help me keep that timing going steady for this section was I would come down as kind of like a little slap, like a soft slap, not like a chuck where it's like a noticeable percussive sound. But I would come down on that first beat, and that would give my hand, or would set my hand up for executing the pluck for this C chord for the end of one. So it's up to you if you want to leave it ringing out and pluck, or if you want to come down on beat one and come up with a pluck, right? So I come down and then I come up. So a lot of my playing, especially when I'm doing slaps and chucking, even though this isn't really a chuck right here, is to come down with this claw shape. So really, really helpful, especially for that style of playing. If you're playing right, it's really, really efficient to come down with a claw shape so you can pluck after the slap. So if you're new to that kind of stuff, you want to check out a really efficient way to play chucking, then check out this lesson. All right, so for the end of one, we're going to come up and we're going to pluck string 4, 2, and 1. So we're just playing that basic C chord. Okay, after that, we're going to be doing a tap plus the A string together. And I should say that the rest of this bar 2 is all eighth notes, so keep that rhythm in mind. N2, N3, N4, N. So all eighth notes. So for the end of one, I'm plucking 4, 2, and 1. And then for beat 2, I'm tapping plus playing the A. Okay? Now the end of 2 is going to be an A by itself. So let's see if we can tackle the first half of bar 2. So remember, we're doing nothing for the first beat. We're playing on the end of 1. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, if I call it out, 3 and 4 and 1. Pluck, tap, O. Okay? So after that, for the second half, we're going to shift that ring finger up to the 3rd fret of string 2. So it's kind of like that C5 that we learned earlier, right? So we're on the 3rd fret of string 2. We're going to play that plus the 3rd string open. And then we're going to the 1st fret of string 2. Okay? So we have pluck 3 and 2 together, and then the 1st fret of string 2 by itself. Then we're going to tap plus play string 2, and then go back to the 3rd fret of string 2. So a bit of a finger frenzy, but not too hard. So again, we've got 3 and 2 together. Then we go to the 1st fret, and then we're going to play the 1st fret plus a tap, and then back to the 3rd fret. So forward and backwards, basically. So we have 3 and 4 and. Okay, so let's try that second half together. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, if we try that entire bar starting the end of 1, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, now if we backtrack, let's try 1 and 2 together. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's slow down even more. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and tap and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So a little tricky because you have to add that tap. Now if you want to make it easier, you can cut the tap out, but you lose that backbeat. And the chorus, I think, and the outro are the things that really pop in this arrangement. So I've sent it to a few friends just to get some feedback, and that's what they've said. The chorus and the outro are the things that they absolutely love the most. So that backbeat adds a lot. So again, check out that lesson if you're new to adding this tap backbeat plus playing a melody note together. Really, really useful technique for making an arrangement pop. All right, so let's look at bar 3 and 4. This is going to be ending 1. So you're going to play these 2 bars for the first ending, and then when we repeat the chorus, we're going to play the same 2 bars we already did, and then we're going to play ending 2 after that. So here's ending 1, so bar 3 and 4. It sounds like this. And actually, let's just play bar 3 for right now. So we have 16th note. Hey, this is the only time that we've got 16th note in the chorus. So the rhythm is 1 endo tap O, 3 endo tap O. So I have 1 endo tap O, 3 endo tap O. So 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4, and that's the rhythm that we've got. So pretty much all eighth notes except for that 1 and a eighth note, right? And then it just repeats twice. So it's actually the same thing repeated twice. So we're highlighting a B flat major 7, although it looks like that D minor shape. So you can think of it like that. You just have that stock D minor chord that we played without the fourth string. So you're going to strum down, and then you're going to do this cool little classical like finger picking technique where we're going to be playing string 2 twice, but we're going to do the middle finger and then the index, and that's going to give us a lot of speed. 1 and 1 and so you have strum, pluck, pluck. So you can see I strum 3 down on the chord, and then I'm going to go 2, 2, but I'm using middle and then index, middle, index. So 1 and okay, so you've got strum 2, 2. So you could do the same finger where you pluck twice, right? Strum 2, 2. But when you increase the speed, it's going to be a lot harder to do that because you've got to move this thing twice, but when you can go ba 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 ba. So I really encourage you to try that technique. It's going to make it so much easier, especially as you play at a faster tempo. Now after that, you're adding the tap by itself and then the open A. So that's beat 2 and the end of 2. So you've got strum 2, 2, tap O, right? But if we put that into the timing, we have 3, 4, 1 and a 2 and 1 and a 2 and. Okay? So you want to keep in mind those double first fret is a 16th note. So let's see if we can try that together slowly. 3 and 4 and 1 and a tap O, 1 and a tap O. So this bar actually repeats twice, so it's the same thing 2 times in a row. Let's try it again 2 times in a row. 3 and 4 and strum 2, 2, tap O, strum 2, 2, tap O. Okay? So that gives us the third bar. So now let's look at the fourth bar. So our fourth bar sounds like this. Okay, so this one I altered a little bit just to make it easier to play rhythmically speaking. So we have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. So the last one is a quarter. So we have all eighth, but the fourth beat is a quarter note hit. So it's out of that C6, so we've got 3 down, all opens, so strum, and then come up and hit the first string after. So you have 1 and, then we're following up by a tap on beat 2, and then an open A after, so that's the end of 2. So you have 1 and 2 and. So let's see if we can try that together. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Okay, now after that, we're going to the 3rd fret of string 2. So we're going to play that note with the ring finger, and then the 2nd fret of string 3, and then the 1st fret of string 2. And when we play that last hit, we're adding a tap. So the second half you have 3, 2, 1 with a tap. 3 on string 2, 2 on string 3, 1 on string 2 with a tap. 3 and 4, that's your rhythm. 3 and 4. You can see it kind of makes that little D minor shape at the end, right? So if we put that bar together, we have 1 and tap and 3, 2, 1. And that's calling out the frets, right? Let's see if we can try together. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. One more time. Ready, go. 1 and tap and 3, 2, 1. Nice. Now let's backtrack and try 3 and 4 together. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. All right, let's try again, but slower. 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and a 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Nice. Now let's backtrack and go 1 through 4. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and All right, so what happens after you're done with the first 4 bars is you're going to go back, you're going to play bars 1 and 2 again. So that's going to be... So you're playing those same 2 bars, and then you have alternate ending number 2. And alternate ending number 2 sounds like this. And for the first bar, we're still using the tap, but for the second bar, we're not. We're going back into just regular finger picking. So it sounds like this. Okay, so let's break down the first one. So we're back to this B flat major 7. It's really just a D minor chord shape, so keep that in mind. Same shape as that, 3 down, so we're going to go strum, and then on beat 2 we're tapping and playing string 3 together. And then we're going to hit the first fret of string 2 after that, and that's going to tie into beat 3. So we have 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so you've got strum, tap, plus second fret of string 3, then the first fret of string 2, and then on the end of 3 we're going to play the third fret of string 2. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, and 3, and you can see I keep this shape, and at that point I can lift up this shape, and here's a kind of a either or. You can add a tap for beat 4 with the thumb, or you can do a chuck. Okay, so you come down with a chuck, and then you can come up with the end of 4, plucking 3 and 2 together. Okay, but you keep that ring finger there, and you're playing an open third plus the third fret of string 2. So if we put that whole bar together, guys, we've got 1, 2, and 3, and tap, end. Okay, so let's break it down again, and then try it together. So one more time recap, we had strum, tap, 1, 3, tap, pluck. Okay, let's give it a shot. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and tap, pluck. Okay, and this pluck is going to hold into the last bar, and it's going to hold in for 8th note. So same thing, we don't hit until the end of 1 for this bar. And this bar is actually really simple. We're just going to be alternating between playing the third string open and then plucking 3 and 2 together. And you're staying with that ring finger held down. So you have and 2 and 3. So you've got 3 pluck, 3 pluck. So when you get to that, that's beat 3. You're going to hold it for a quarter note plus an 8th. So a dotted quarter. So you have and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And then the final note on the end of 4 is going to be the first fret of string 2. So that last bar, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, let's try you and I. Real simple. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Alright, so now let's backtrack. Let's try those last 2 bars. This was alternate ending number 2. Here we go. 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and tap and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Awesome. Now let's see if we can tackle the second ending. So we'll go bars 5 through 8. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so a little fast. Let's try one more time slower. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Nice. Now let's see if we can do the entire chorus, so all 8 bars. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a tap, oh, 3 and a tap, oh, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and... Nice. So that gives us the entire chorus. So rhythmically speaking, a lot easier than the verses. So let's move on to the refrain. There's only 2 bars in the refrain that are new. The refrain is 4 bars in length, but the last 2 bars are identical to the intro. So we only got 2 more bars, and that'll wrap up this part 1 lesson. So here's what those first 2 bars sound like. Okay, so we've got starting off on the F chord, so just a stock F. The whole first bar is right out of this chord. So go ahead and make that F. We're going to start with a quarter note. We've got a strum. Then on beat 2, we're playing a 8th note triplet. We have a triplet strum. If you're new to doing the triplet strum, I'm going to put a link in the description box below for a lesson that Jake Shimabukuro teaches. It's an excellent lesson. I'll put another lesson that talks about the rhythm behind 8th note triplets. So if you don't know what the rhythm is for an 8th note triplet, check out that other lesson too. So the first lesson by Jake will teach you the mechanics on how to do the strum. The second lesson, I'll teach you the rhythm behind 8th note triplets. But let's go ahead and play it, assuming you know what it is. So we've got a triplet strum, triplet, so that's on beat 2. So if we try the first half, we have 1 triplet. So let's try that first half. We've got 3, 4, 1 triplet. Now for beat 3, we're back to 8th notes. So it's going to be strum and then the 3rd string open. And then for beat 4, we're playing a quarter note. It's going to be plucking string 1 and 2. Okay? So the second half, we have 3 and 4. So it's strum, 3, pluck 1 and 2. So if we put that entire bar together, we have 3, 4, 1 triplet, 3 and 4. Okay, let's try you and I. Here we go. 3, 4, 1 triplet, 3 and 4. Okay, one more time. 3, 4, strum, triplet, strum, 3, 4. Okay, so our next bar sounds like this. Okay, so let's break that one down. All 8th notes until the end. The last 2 hits are 16th notes. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and So we're out of the C5. Remember, that's the ring on the 3rd fret of string 2. So we're going to start with a strum 4 to 2, then play the 3rd string open after, and then you're going to add the pinky underneath it. It's going to be the 3rd fret of string 1. And then back to the 3rd string open. So that's the first half. You've got strum, 3, 1, 3. So don't forget to add that pinky, right? Strum, 3, 1, 3. Okay, let's try that. 3, 4, strum, 3, 1, 3. Okay, the second half, we're going to put that index on the 1st fret of string 2. We're going to play that note, followed by the open G. And then after that, for beat 4, we're going to play the open A, and then play string 2 again, and then add the middle to the 2nd fret of string 3. And you can see you're getting into form for D minor for the next bar. So again, for the second half, starting on beat 3, you have string 2, string 4 open, and then string 1 open, and then 1, 2, right? 2nd string, 3rd string. Ba-dum. So the rhythm is 3 and 4 and Okay, let's try the second half together. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and Alright, if we try that entire bar together. 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, slow down. 3 and 4 and strum, 3, 1, 3, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Now let's backtrack. Let's try the first and second bar of the refrain. So here we go. 3 and 4 and 1 triplet, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Nice. Now the second 2 bars, or the last 2 bars, bar 3 and 4 for the refrain, are identical to bar 3 and 4 of the intro. So you're vamping on the D minor. to B flat for the last bar and C, and then the open C. So those last two bars were. So we already know that, so we're not going to cover it again. But let's see if we can go 1 through 4 for the refrain, and then we'll wrap up this lesson video. Here we go. 3, 4, 1, triplet, 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2, a 3 and 4 and a 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so remember those last two bars are identical to 3 and 4 from the intro. So guys, that's everything for this lesson. We've covered the intro, the first, the second verse, and the chorus and the refrain. So that's a lot. Intro, verse 1, verse 2, chorus, refrain. 5 whole sections of this tune. This lesson was quite lengthy, but there's a lot going on, especially with the syncopation. That, I think, and how many variations are throughout this arrangement are the trickiest thing, more so than playing-wise. The mechanics behind the finger picking is pretty easy, or it's not easy, it's at an intermediate level. So the hard thing is those two aspects, the variations and the syncopation. So take your time on it. Keep the lyrics in mind as you're working through this. That's going to help you. If you can sing it, you can play it. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this lesson, and I will see you in part 2 where we're going to cover the second half of this song. And don't forget that at this page right here, you can watch the second part of the lesson and access the tabs that you can print off and follow along with, and access the on-screen tab viewer, that really cool interactive tab player where you can hit play, watch the tab scroll across in real time, highlight bars, loop sections. Super duper handy for learning a really complex syncopated rhythm piece like this. All right, guys, I will see you in the part 2 lesson. Thanks.